Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Golly god darn it. This is From the Pocket. We are back coming at you. Not live anymore. We're not live streaming anymore. But hey, we're still going to be uploading. So, Christian, how have you been this very long, dragging out off season?
Yeah, overall, been okay here and there. But yeah, we're in August, August 3rd. We just had our first preseason game this past Thursday, Chargers versus the Lions. We're back. We're
We're
almost
back.
back. We're almost there, but we got to get through this preseason. But college football is going to be starting up here in a couple weeks, toward maybe, and I think the last week of August, like the games really start. But yeah, I love when football season's back, and I'm glad we're finally through the grueling months of the summer, and now we're about to see some football again. So I can't wait.
For sure. Training camps going on. It's this really
Mm-hmm.
to me is like the best time of year, obviously, to me is the fall. You have football going on. You got spooky season,
Hopefully,
Thanksgiving,
it starts
Christmas.
getting less hot.
Yeah, yeah. But there is something pretty amazing about this time of year. This just anticipatory feeling when everybody's got hope, everybody's issuing their predictions. That content, that football conversation is really starting to kind of crank back up. It's a really great time of year, and we're coming at you all today. We're going to start with our team previews. Before we start, though, I just wanted to kind of give some quick housekeeping, some quick announcements. We are now kind of changing the way we're doing our podcast. We're going to be 2 times a week now. So instead of every Wednesday, yeah, it's exciting. We're going to be every Monday morning and Thursday morning. So during the regular season, we're obviously going to be reacting to the games pretty immediate after they happen. And then that episode on Thursday is going to be more of the look ahead. So I think it'll kind of give us some more time to breathe on some of these segments. It's not going to be just constantly in a 2-hour episode talking about all the teams and how they did last week when everybody's moved on. So we're also on all the platforms now. We're not only on your favorite podcasting app, Spotify, Apple, all the rest. We're now going to be on TikTok. We're going to be on Instagram. We're going to have daily content on YouTube every day. So it's going to be a real production. I'm excited. It's going to be busy, though. But, Christian, I think we can do it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah,
It
for
is
sure.
a grind. Like all the YouTubers and stuff, when they do like actual like talking to the fan type videos, it you really get the sense of like, yeah, this is a grind. It's not just all fun and games. It's a real hustle out there.
It is, and it's gonna be a hustle, but it's gonna be good. So, the big news, obviously, I think, is the Micah Parsons news, but you have some other smaller stories, smaller quote unquote. Terry McLaurin is holding out. You have Matt Stafford holding in rather, yes,
because they receive what 50K fines if they aren't present in training camp.
Yeah.
And now with the new, I guess, CBA, or now teams aren't allowed to forgive those fines anymore, which in the past, you could incur these fines, and then once the contract got signed, then the team could just be like, yeah, whatever. Now they have, like, the players have to, and 50K, that adds up quick. So yeah, now we're seeing, Terry McLaurin, Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson,
Yeah.
in Cincinnati.
Still waiting.
Jawan Jennings, I think, may be doing the same
Oh,
thing. I know
I forgot about that.
I think he has an injury, but he could have an injury, So, yeah, we're seeing a lot of players showing up to training camp but not practicing and saying they have, whatever injury they might or might not have.
Yeah, which is their prerogative. If you don't want to go out there and risk injury, I get it. It's a violent sport, and you're already seeing. We're always surprised at the injuries, but we've already had some people broken foots. We've had some people whose season's already over. It's not common, but you never know. You never know. You go up and you look at Trayvon Diggs even a couple years ago during just a random practice. He went up on a deep pass or something, defending it, and ACL snapped, out for season. So you just never know. So, but yeah, is there any player in particular you wanted to talk about as far as the
I
news?
mean, I think the biggest news is the Micah Parsons news.
It
We
is.
can
I
talk
would
about
agree.
that. Has requested a trade. Um, from what we've seen when the story came out, what was it like Thursday or something? Diana Rossini uh, posted a bunch of tweets about it, and Micah Parsons, made a tweet. But I think the gist of it is, contract dispute. Mike is holding in. I think last year tried to get a contract going in talks, and the Cowboys said no. Micah said okay, put his head down, played the season. Well, got injured, but played the season, played all the games, and now we have once again come around with the Dallas uh, with another contract dispute. Um, I'll give you my quick thoughts, Jake, and I'll
Sure.
let you go. And this is your team. This is what Jerry wants. I think. Like, I'm not saying this is all like a what Mike is doing with requesting a trade. I think if it gets pushed to that, I think Michael would hey, like he's top player at his position. So yeah, I think this is just ridiculous. Utter ridiculous. I don't know what Dallas's apprehension to not signing Micah. We've went through this last year with Dak. You're like, oh, are we gonna? The question was, were they going to go into the season without giving Dak a contract? And lo and behold, hours before the first game, Dak is now the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Gave him everything he wanted, 60 million
Eh,
a year and all.
So this is just kind of a show, but I feel where Micah is coming from. I mean, if you haven't learned in these past few years, like the Cowboys, this is what they do. They ended up playing DeMarcus Lawrence. Uh, they paid Zeke. They paid Dak twice now. They paid CD last year. Like they're gonna pay Micah. It's just when and what the numbers are. Now, I think Diana Rossini said something about, you know, they talked. I don't know when the timeline was because TJ Watt was also holding out for the Steelers, but he just got paid. So I don't. And apparently they had Jerry and Micah had a conversation, and Micah. I don't know if numbers were discussed. I don't know. We weren't there at that conversation, but maybe they had. It sounds like Micah it sounds like Jerry was like, "Oh, we got a price, we got a numbers and all that," and Michael was like, "No, talk to my agent." Apparently, they haven't been talking to his agent, so this is all just crazy thing. I will say one last bit. I will say this is gonna happen. Mike is not getting traded. I think Jerry said yesterday he's not. They're
Don't
not
lose sleep
interested.
over this. He's like, Cowboys
Like
fans, don't lose sleep over this.
he's gonna get signed. He'll probably make above TJ Watt or just at. I think it's more of the guarantee money. I think that's what it always is. So, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think the latest I don't think this was going into the season, but I think the latest this will get done is the same thing as last year with Dak, where it's like hours before the game, and they're already gonna get talked about because they're opening up with the Eagles in their ring ceremony in the first game of the season. So maybe that'll get them an extra talking point on the uh, on all the sports industry shows and all that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this might last a little bit. But I mean, Micah did kind of put some pressure on the Cowboys, but don't you worry, Jake and Cowboys fans. He's getting signed, and he will be a Dallas Cowboy for probably the rest of his career. But we'll see. But he's getting paid for sure. I think it's more or so about the guarantees.
Yeah, I think he will get signed. I am a little nervous. I mean, this feels like this is, I mean, we saw this happen with Zeke. We saw this happen with CD. We've seen this happen with Dak twice, as you said. It just, this is what the Cowboys do. I'm not super stressed about it yet, but having somebody like Micah Parsons say, I want to be traded is not a great sign. I mean, that does tell me like there really is some bad blood brewing. part of me could see it being kind of a negotiation ploy. I mean, you had CeeDee Lamb come out right after and basically tweet something like, I don't understand why we're not paying him. So I think reporting to training camp, as you've talked about with the fines and kind of you can't have those fines forgiven. Once you report to training camp, you're there. I mean, there's all sorts of rules that you can't leave unless you want to incur fines, and then they can put you on basically on ice and freeze a year of your eligibility, so you don't even have a year count towards that contract. So, like, the Cowboys have all of the leverage here. So I think this is Micah using what he can to put some pressure publicly on the Cowboys. And again, that's really all he can do. But I mean, I also kind of agree with it, and I kind of feel where he's coming from. I mean, Micah has been a good soldier. He should have been paid last year. There's players from the 2022 draft class that are already getting extensions.
From his draft class, most of the guys, like he was top 12? Everybody, if you go look at that draft class, has been paid.
Everybody
we can argue,
and
like Pastor Tan's been paid. Trevor Lawrence has been paid. Now, does he deserve that contract? Jamar Chase has been paid. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot. It's a
ridiculous.
Large number, and I would understand if Micah was a middling player. Like, well, we don't know if we want to give you an extension, but like Micah has been lights out amazing. He missed a month of football last year, and that's really all you're getting from him as far as missed time. It's crazy to me that the Cowboys are kind of jerking him around publicly, and that's really where I kind of sympathize with Micah, where Micah's like, I should have been paid last year. I let this offseason go by, and I didn't stress about it. I am reporting to training camp. I'm not saying anything in the media, and y'all are out here. Well, the CD chants were louder than the Micah chants, and I don't really know if I want to pay Micah. What if something happens? We got to be careful with these numbers and all this stuff. Like just little negs here and there where you're kind of just criticizing him and shitting on him in the media a little bit. It's gross, and I feel where Micah's coming from, where Micah's like, you want to sit here and talk about how you had me in a room once and we talked a number in an uninformal way, and then you want to hold me to that, when, by the way, since that conversation has happened, we have had multiple edge rushers paid. So I feel where he's coming from, but I also know that trade requests happen a lot. I mean, Myles Garrett requested a trade earlier this season, and everybody, I mean, there was no conversation about that being anything other than, well, where's Myles Garrett going to go now? And then he ends up with a $40 million a year contract. TJ
I always
Watt
love playing in Cleveland.
got paid too. But, I mean, we saw this last year with Brandon Ayuk. Terry McLaurin just did this. It's very rare the player actually ends up leaving. This is always more of just kind of a step in the process towards getting paid.
All the players, I do think Terry McLaurin could be the one that's traded. But I mean, we'll see when
I would
happens.
Be shocked if they like if they I think it's not to change the subject, but that's a really weird one, because I do think on one hand you could say it's probably smart to not pay Terry McLaurin $30 million a year.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, if y'all are serious about making this run and you feel like you cannot go into the season with Deebo Samuel as your number one guy, like you're not doing anything. I mean, your defense already isn't very good. So, I mean, I think the Commanders are in a tough spot with Terry McLaurin, which is why you even see it with Jawan Jennings. Like, these players understand we have an opportunity here to maybe do something, and you're going to need me to do that thing. So this is when I want to come in and use the maximum leverage I have and try to get more money. I mean, Zeke did the same thing after 2018. The Cowboys we had Amari Cooper as our number one. We'd won a playoff game. It was the first playoff game we'd won with that core. And then Zeke's like, you know what? I would like to be paid early. I've earned it. Which Zeke, the contract obviously didn't age well, but at that point, Zeke had definitely earned getting paid and getting paid early. So, yeah, I'm nervous about it, just because anytime you have somebody the caliber of Micah complaining and wanting to be traded, it makes me nervous. But I also don't think the Cowboys will. The Cowboys can't afford to throw away this season, and Micah is pivotal to this season. You have the Bill Barnwell stat that I was sharing with all of y'all. Over the last 4 years, the Cowboys are the league's best defense with Micah Parsons on the field by EPA. It's a famous
Yeah.
analytical stat. Across a 1,039 play sample, they are the league's second worst defense over that same stretch by EPA per play when Parsons is not on the field. So, and I've talked about
They
this on the podcast a
cannot
lot.
afford.
I mean, when Mike is on the field, the Cowboys are a top 10 unit. When he is off the field, they cannot stop anybody. So, I think it'll get done. I think people are being really silly when they say, "Well, why not just trade him for a haul?" You know, is Micah even that good? It's like you're trying to be big brained and you're being stupid. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. You do not draft a player of Micah Parsons' caliber. When you draft a player in the first round, every team, no matter who they're drafting, they hope, hey, I hope in 3 to 4 years, I'm going to be able to give this guy a bag of money because he's one of the best in the league at what he does. That is what Micah Parsons is and has become. The idea that I'm sitting here drafting, even if you get 2 firsts for him, you going to draft somebody better than Micah Parsons? No, you're not. No, you're not. So, yeah, I think he needs to be paid. I think this is a no-brainer. I don't know why the Cowboys do this all the time. They're going to give him everything he's asking for. I mean, he's probably going to get a $45 million a year contract or something, and we're going to be like, why did you do all that? You do this every time. So, I don't know. I digress. But anyway, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
All right, Christian, we're going to talk about the NFC West. We're going to be going through and giving team previews. So today we're starting with the West. We'll hit up the AFC West on Thursday. But to kind of preview it, to kind of talk about what we're doing here, we're not picking records yet. That's coming later on. We're going to give those predictions right before the season starts. Today we're going through each season, breaking them down, their 2024 campaign, what they did this offseason, what we expect, our thoughts, our feelings, our hype, our concern. We're going to be talking about how we feel about their over-under, and we're going to be talking about how we feel about their ceiling and their floor. So, without further ado, let's start with the LA Rams. We're going to be talking about the LA Rams, and we got to pick how we feel about them. So, Christian, do you want to go ahead and start this? Do you have what are your immediate thoughts about the LA Rams?
Immediate thoughts about the LA Rams. I have been not the kind of the LA Rams skeptic. You have been kind of the believer in them. I've been personally a 49ers fan. Can't wait to talk about them. But I think they have a solid squad. Defensively, I think they bunch of young talent, but I do trust what they can do defensively. Jared Verse coming off defensive rookie of the year was pretty good at pressuring the quarterback. Only had 4.5 sacks, but was still pretty solid. They did try and bolster that defensive line, signing Puna Ford.
Oh, yeah.
They drafted edge rusher out of Michigan, Josiah Stewart, and then later in the draft, Ohio State, they took the defensive lineman Ty Hamilton. So they did try to address that. I will say the back half of the back end on their defense, their corners in particular, PFF did not grade them very well in pass coverage. And they didn't address that in free agency and in the draft. So hopefully they can pick it up. Having a healthy and versatile defensive line can help the secondary. So looking for them to step it up. Jared Verse going to his second season. Hopefully he can pick it up as well. But other than and their linebackers, I think are kind of shaky as well. But I think hopefully they can they'll pick it up. But I think their biggest concerns really are on the offensive side.
Really?
Particularly with
defense,
obviously on the defense, but I think they got to be better on offense, particularly with their offensive line and, their 37-year-old quarterback in Matthew Stafford.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. PFF did not like them either, the offensive line. Third worst pass blocking grade. They had a lot of injuries going in with that. They did suffer a lot of injuries to that offensive line, so hopefully they can play better. Matthew Stafford, I don't know if you heard the news, he's dealing with an injury right now, or that was like a few weeks. Back soreness. He was injured into last season. Now, they did lose Cooper Kupp, but their biggest free agency was Devontae Adams. I do like this signing for them, pairing him with Puka Nacua. They still have Tutu Atwell I like their running backs. They need to get better and protecting, Matthew Stafford, especially on third down. That's where they struggled a lot last year, like on medium to long third downs. They didn't convert very well. Matthew Stafford's stats have been going down in his old age. A huge thing. I'm not going to go into all the stats because like my eyes kind of glazed over, but within the 10 to go, struggled a lot, and they used a lot of 11 personnel. I think they're like the number one
Oh, by far. By
team
far.
in the league that uses 11 personnel, and their conversion rate on that was just not great. Throw some other stuff in there. Stop trying to throw the ball and having your three wide receivers. Like, yeah, get in there between the tackles, my man.
I mean, it's that's their identity. I mean, that's what Sean McVay wants to run. Sean McVay. I mean, they are going to lean on their receivers more than any other team in the NFL. And you had a lot of the stuff I wanted to talk about. There were some strange coaching things from last year. You talked about the third downs, particularly third and medium or more. Another couple things though was their goal to go situations. They oddly, I mean, we think of Sean McVay as kind of a great offensive mind. They made like no adjustments throughout the year on their goal to go situations. They ran 11 personnel in goal to go situations 91% of the time. The league average in goal to go 11 personnel is 55%, and second place was like 73%. So I mean, they are a mile apart in how much they're running that. And the data is pretty clear that 11 personnel, which for the record, by the way, is when you're running 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. It's not great in that area of the field. The other area that they struggled were opening drives. That is an area that Sean McVay has been great in, but last year they were terrible. They only had 30 points in the first quarter all year long, 31st in the league.
Compared like last year or 2023, they had like 84, I believe.
Exactly.
That's
so
what it said.
They've been really good in those spots. I expect those things to be kind of fixed to a degree because, I mean, again, I think we trust Sean McVay. Matt Stafford's obviously a huge vet. I think the biggest concern for him is if he can stay healthy. He's already dealing with an injury now. But barring that, I think they'll be fine. I did want to hit on their defense a little bit. You hit on some of the things. They drafted, obviously, you talked about Jared Verse, Defensive Rookie of the Year, led the league in pressures. Braden Fisk got third in Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. He was fantastic. He had 8.5 sacks, which led the team. And then Kobe Turner was he was in his second year last year. By my count, somebody can fact check me. I think he was tied for second last year among defensive tackles and sacks. He had 8. And then obviously, as you said, they added Poona Ford, who the Rams really struggled last year to stop the run. I think Poona Ford they brought him in literally to stop the run. I mean, he was graded third among interior defensive linemen for rush defense in 2024. So, and I really like the PFF grades when it comes to offensive and defensive line. It's just when you're watching it, it's easy to tell what the assignment is. You're obviously trying to get into this gap, and you're trying to defend this gap. It gets a little dicey when you're talking about corners and receivers and who ran what route and what is the concept. And I think that makes it harder to grade at PFF. But nevertheless, I mean, again, like offensive, defensive line, those are very reliable grades. They're very simple concepts. You can tell what they're trying to do. So when they say Poona Ford was one of, if not the best interior defensive lineman at stopping the run last year, I trust it. So I like the Poona Ford edition, but I feel actually a little opposite of you because defensively is where my questions are, right? Like you look at them defensively, even in the back half of last year, when they were supposed to be great, they really weren't. They were still pretty middle of the pack throughout the entire year. There was never a stretch of games, even when they were winning, that you looked and saw, man, this defense is like elite at getting at the quarterback or elite at pressure. I mean, they were pretty middle of the pack consistently.
True.
21st in sacks, 17th in pressure rate. They were not good at stopping the run, 24th in yards per attempt. They were near the bottom in several pass defensive categories. And I feel like there's this assumption that's baked in about this team that, well, this defense is clearly about to take a step forward, though. You're about to see that. And maybe, look, maybe? I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying I don't really see, outside of having some nice young studs on the defensive line, which they do. I mean, their defensive line is nice. Like, it's a nice defensive line. Their linebackers are not that great. They've never really prioritized their linebackers. They have Nate Landman coming in here, and he's going to be their Mike. It looks like he's wearing the green dot in training camp. But they don't prioritize corners or safeties. They've kind of built their secondary as like solid, not great. They're just going to kind of hold down the fort and do the job. And it seems like they're going to really try to rely on their defensive line to create the havoc that the back end of their defense needs to kind of succeed. And I just don't. I'm not saying I trust it completely. I'm a little skeptical of it. I still think this team is going to be really, really good, even if this defense is middle of the pack. And I'm not saying they'll be middle of the pack, but even if they are, I think this team will be good. But I will say, if I'm wrong and this defense does take a step forward, I think this is a Super Bowl contender. I really do. Because, and this gets to the point where I think we're going to disagree, I love their offense. I am a big believer in their offense. They signed Alaric Jackson to an extension. I do love how they're building their O-line, prioritizing resources. They drafted Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon, so he very well will probably end up being the starter over Tyler Higbee at the tight end spot. And the Devontae Adams signing, I'm going to say it, I think it was one of the best signings any team made all offseason. I loved it because it fit. Devontae Adams fits so well in what this team is going to try to do. First off, he's obviously an upgrade over Cooper Kupp in terms of just skill and health-wise.
Yeah. I mean, it hurts to...
Yeah. I mean,
it really does.
Cooper Kupp had a nice time in the sun, but Devontae Adams is a real deal. And it's easy to forget, Devontae Adams was actually top 5 in multiple passing categories last year during his time with the Jets. Now I get it, Aaron Rodgers is going to throw him a lot, but nevertheless... This is where I think it'll really help, though, going back to what we're talking about with the 11 personnel. Devontae Adams is a menace in the red zone. He is routinely in the upper tier of red zone targets and production. So I think that really just adds to this fit. They're looking for a receiver that is, obviously a great route runner that's going to take over for Cooper Kupp and be able to kind of fit in that scheme, but also somebody that they can target in the red zone where they don't have to change their schematics up that much. And I think Devontae Adams fits that perfectly. So and also Kyren Williams, he struggled in yards per carry, but I mean, he still ended up with 1,500 yards almost. I really think that this offense they've built is a real powerhouse. I mean, I think they've done a decent job of prioritizing their O-line. Obviously, you'd like it a little more. I know you're skeptical of it, but I do think their O-line is not bad. I love the Terrence Ferguson addition. It's just another weapon and maybe even better than Tyler Higbee. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams combo is amazing. Devontae Adams has apparently just been killing it in training camp. I mean, from all the reports coming out, he's actually
catching. Still got something to prove.
Yeah, but I mean, they're saying he's literally catching more passes than he is not. I mean, they're throwing the ball to him and he's catching it more than they are not throwing the ball to him. He's
still that guy.
Yeah,
he's still that guy. I know he's getting a little older, but I would say it was just my biggest concern with him is I agree that they kind of had to bring Stafford back because if they didn't, I don't know what this would have looked. This team would not even be a playoff contender if Matthew Stafford wasn't back. But his stats are just, he had his stats he was okay. He had 3,700 yards.
Yeah,
3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns. I was 5 interceptions or something that's nothing special to me. And if he's already kind of injured in training camp, I do think this team is going to be good. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. They went 10-7. We'll talk about their what we think they're going to do but what they're going to do this season. I think they are right now at 10.5.
I have them at 9.5. It could be
9. I think it might be 9.5. 9.5. All right, so they're at 9.5. I mean, that's about where they're gonna be. 9-8, 10-7. I think that can win you the division. We'll talk about the other teams there. But yeah, man, it's just Matthew Stafford. Really, he's getting older.
If he can't stay healthy, I mean, this whole season.
And that offensive line, they suffer some terrible injuries. Not knock on wood. I'm not saying I want them to, but if they suffer some injuries and they gotta play musical chairs with their offensive line. I don't know. Now it is good. Jimmy G is getting reps there. I do like their backup.
Quality backup. Jimmy
for,
Garoppolo's a
for a few
quality
games.
backup.
Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong,
yeah.
for a few games. But if Jimmy has to play a significant amount, I think you'll see a lot of holes with this team. So I think it is leaning on, can Matthew Stafford have, maybe not be Superman all the time, but can he be Superman for a few games here and there? But they obviously need to, run the ball well and play solid defense. But yeah, I do agree. This team is a big contender in the NFC. I do agree with that, but I'm kind of squeamish with them as always.
I agree. I mean, again, I think their offense is like assuming health, which you never know. Health is crazy.
I mean,
but assuming health, this offense is like a lock to me. Like we even saw last year as they got healthier on the back stretch when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua both came back. Their offense was really good. I mean, their pass game was solid. I think they need a little bit of help in shoring up, making sure their run game is a little more consistent, but I expect that to happen. To me, it's see, the 9.5, I would lean over. I think this is a 10, 11 win team.
They've been 10-7 their last 2 seasons.
If this defense hits, though, and again, that's a big if because I'm not convinced it will, but if it does, I think you have a 13-win team right here, and I think you could have a team that really is competing for the 1 seed, is a real contender, 12-win team.
Now, I will say about that, their schedule, first half of their schedule, they got the Texans at home. Okay, Texans made the playoffs. Got the Eagles week 3 on the road.
Brutal.
San Fran week 5, and then Baltimore in week 6. They do have an early bye, but after that it kind of gets a little easier on the back half. I think
Could
their
be
biggest
a classic Rams season. Start out slow and then hit the turbo at the back half of the year, go 6-2.
I mean, their back half of their season's probably one of the easiest. Like the only teams that made the playoffs last year were the Bucks and the Lions. They have another game against the 49ers. They play the Saints, Seattle, Carolina, and Arizona twice. If they can get out of that, their initial maybe being like, they can get out of there 4-3, 3-4, then yeah, they're cooking, and with that week 8 bye.
Yeah, I feel that. I think the floor for this team is really 9 wins. Again, assuming health. And maybe health, like, there are certain teams where it's like, well, we can assume health generally, but not for, like, this team. Matt Stafford at 37. They don't have amazing depth in a lot of places. I mean, again, Jimmy Garoppolo is definitely not a bad backup, but, like, I think barring health, at worst, this is a 9-10 win team for me. So I would lean the over. If this defensive line can't get pressure, can't stop the run, and we're looking at kind of a middle-of-the-pack defense bolstered by a great offense, that's 10-11 wins. If this defense is clicking, I think this offense is going to click. I will watch out for the Rams. But, again, I am not convinced that this defense is just going to ascend to this top 5 statue. We have a lot of really good defenses this year that could ascend, and I just look at the Rams.
I think one in this division, baby.
Yeah, we do. And we got one. They to me leave a little bit to be desired on that. So we're gonna talk about you want to talk about your team, Christian, the San Francisco 49ers next?
Hell yeah!
All right, let's do 49ers. So hitting on the San Francisco 49ers. I won't lie, this team is an enigma to me. It is an enigma because this is a roster that is constructed in a way that NFL history constantly says you should not. It is older,
that's fair,
higher paid players. They are very top heavy. They don't have a ton of depth.
Yep.
But there is a lot to be optimistic about this year.
Number 1 easiest schedule.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that. That's
all.
That's
like
real?
The biggest talking.
I haven't heard that at all. Yeah, that's just not been on my radar. They have the easiest schedule apparently. I actually have a joke here about that. Just, have you heard about that? Have you heard they have the easiest schedule? No, I think, a lot of people last year. Obviously, they went 6-11 last year. They were injured to hell. Brandon Ayuk,
Crazy.
Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey,
Ricky Pearsall got shot.
Ricky Pearsall got shot. I mean, like the list just goes on and on of the players that they lost last year. Jawan Jennings missed time, and then obviously Deebo Samuel was just a total shell of himself. And I think a lot of people are focusing on like, the Nick Wrights of the world, right? Where they look at Brock Purdy's play and they go, "Oh, Brock Purdy, look, he failed. See, we told you if you took away literally everybody under the sun, he would not be that good." And to be totally honest, he actually was not bad at all. He really was not. It was not spectacular, but that's not who Brock Purdy is.
Obviously he's not a top quarterback.
Yeah,
he needs help.
I feel kind of bad for Brock Purdy because there's a couple of quarterbacks we do this to where, like, we understand for the bulk of quarterbacks in the NFL, well, obviously you need help. Obviously Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Tua, Dak. Maybe not Dak because we hate the Cowboys. Everybody hates the Cowboys, but most quarterbacks we understand you need help if you want to succeed. But for Brock Purdy, it's like, yeah, Brock Purdy's not going to be that good when he loses every single one of his weapons. And even then, he wasn't bad. Like, there's a lot of data that suggests he was super efficient on early downs. He was actually really good. He improved in a lot of areas in terms of advanced stats. The really only place that he got lost in was his touchdown and interception totals, which his touchdowns were down, but I think they were about the same as Matthew Stafford. And nobody's saying Matthew Stafford's, terrible.
Right, Matthew Stafford is all the love.
For sure. So I really... This was a story about their defense and just the lack of talent they had because of injuries. They went into most of their games in halftime, they were up. And then they'd get to the second half and they just didn't have the dudes to compete. And I think that really shows you that Brock Purdy can ball. And I think Brock Purdy did prove, like, there's a reason they gave him the contract they did. Like, they were watching the film every day and they understood that we can win with this guy. Like, we put talent around him, we can win with him. And they have Christian McCaffrey coming back. I don't know, Christian. I've been talking a lot. What do you think? What are your immediate reads on the 49ers?
I mean, number one, easy schedule. Easy schedule. I don't like the Week 14 bye, so that's crazy. They got a long way to go. They are playing quite a few playoff teams in that first half of a huge first half of the season. They're opening up on the road against Seattle. That's not going to be an easy game. The Robert Saleh signing, I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
The times when they were really, really good and made the Super Bowls and the NFC Championships, what did they have, Jake? Can you guess what the 49ers had during those runs?
I'm going to guess you're either going to say Robert Saleh or a top-tier defense.
Both. They either had Robert Saleh or they had like a top 10, top 5 defense.
Him or DeMeco Ryans, It's
I think Robert Saleh, he did coach for the Jets. I am rooting on Aaron Glenn, another defensive guy. But I think he knows defenses, and I think he can get the best out of these younger players. I don't like the fact that really the only returning player on that defensive line is Nick Bosa. It's just like a bunch of rookies and stuff. They've been hitting on that a lot in the drafts. They took Mikael Williams in the first round, Alfred Collins from Texas, took another one in the fourth, CJ West. A lot of people weren't in love with their draft. They were graded up with a lot of reaches, but I do trust John Lynch. Now maybe he saw something that we know, or like we don't know that he knows, but I do trust John Lynch. But I mean, this is a big, as you were talking about, this very top heavy team. They're tied with the Eagles for the only two teams with 7 players making at least $19 million per year. That's Purdy, Bosa, Ayuk, Williams, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. A lot of those players up in age. Christian McCaffrey, can he stay healthy? George Kittle's getting up there in age. Fred Warner, I still think he can ball.
He's still the best linebacker in football. I mean,
Troy Williams this is probably his last year. So yeah, very top heavy, obviously, and a lot of their defensive players still have drafted in this year, last year, and previous years still have a lot to improve. I do trust this elite coaching staff. Love the Robert Saleh signing. getting him back. So I'm hoping that can make this defense maybe not top 10, but get back up to that, top half of the league. I think it helped quite a bit. Can they stay healthy? Obviously, can Brandon Ayuk's coming off a ACL injury. I know we talked about Juwan Jennings. I don't know if he's suffering. I don't know if he has an injury or is he just he has an injury because he's one new contract after having a great year last year. What was it, like 900 yards or almost 1,000 yards? So yeah, 49ers wise, they are at what 10.5 points right now. 10 and a half.
Yeah, sounds right.
I don't see this team winning 11 games, so I'd bet the under. But I mean, I think they're 10 and a half. That's all. I don't know, man. Like you said, they don't have a lot of depth in a lot of positions here. Their defense is really young. A lot of players making a bunch of money that they need to produce, and it's tough, especially since a lot of these players they need to produce are in their upper 30s. Or Christian McCaffrey, he's in that 28 range, and he had a crazy last year with it's his PCL. It's like, oh no, he has a bilateral Achilles tendonitis or whatever. And then when he finally came back in December, he got injured and was out with a PCL injury. So I would bet the under. I think 10-7, 9-8 is kind of where this range. I would be shocked if they go 11-6. Even though I do believe in this team, I don't know if I'd pick them right now. I'd have to. I know they got the easy schedule, but I don't know if I'd pick them. I'll have to. We haven't picked the games yet, so I'm gonna wait till then and see how that may lay. But yeah, 10 and a half, a little too rich for my blood, but we'll see.
Yeah, to me, this team is very strange, and this is why I said they're an enigma, right? Because I genuinely could see this team winning 12 games and still being like fifth or sixth best in the entire conference. Like, I mean, this is going to be a weird year where like they could be the number one seed, but they're definitely not one of the best teams in the conference. It's very strange. I do not think this is a Super Bowl team.
I'd be shocked if they get to the number one seed.
Well,
to be honest with you, even though I love this team and I think they'll do great things this year, I'd be shocked.
Well, and to your point, you talked about they're one of two teams paying 7 or more people $19 million or more. They're also the only team with 3 players making more than $30 million. Now, when the Cowboys sign Micah, or at this point, if that will change, the Cowboys would then be the other team. But I mean, you talked about you trust John Lynch. I won't lie, I'm a little. John Lynch I think he's running out of runway. Like, you look at these drafts.
That is fair.
2022, of the 9 players they drafted, only 4 of them are still on the team. And 2022, I mean, that's not that long ago. Drake Jackson no longer on the team. Tyrion Davis-Price no longer on the team. Danny Gray no longer on the team. Now, they did draft Brock Purdy that year, so, take that for what it's worth. 2023, Jair Brown, Jake Moody, Cameron Latu. Like, those are their top picks that year. Last year, 2024, Ricky Pearsall, Renardo Green, Dominic Puny. So, a lot of these players are pretty young still. Obviously, they're kind of wait and see. But, like, you really need some of these guys to pop off. I mean, you cannot be afford to be missing. And none of these players really have popped off. I mean, I'm sure if you're super plugged into the 49ers, you like a lot of these players, maybe. But, I mean, bottom line is, like, they're not finding Fred Warner in the middle of the draft anymore. They're not finding George Kittle in the 5th round. Like, they haven't been doing that kind of stuff. So, they really – I think they need to really hit on some of these players that they've been drafting. And if they don't, again, you're going to see that depth really, really, really tested. And then, as you said, I mean – the things they lost this offseason: Javon Hargrave, Malik Collins, Leonard Floyd, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, Charvarius Ward. I mean, that is a lot of defensive talent walking out your door. And offensively, they lost Debo, but how you feel about Debo? They got Brandon Ayuk coming back off of an injury. Now, the good news is Christian McCaffrey is an animal. I mean, that dude is a demon. That dude is a monster. And he
I
really...
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're skeptical of how he'll be, I get it. But, like, in theory, he is supposed to be the guy that makes your offense go. And this offense does look a lot different. I mean, 51% passing to 55% passing. They significantly pass less to their running backs. 25%, which was near the top of the league, down to 11%. This stat is crazy, though. You look at the yards gained before contact for their runners, right? It was virtually identical in 2023 when they went to the Super Bowl and last year in 2024. But the amount of actual yards per carry was so drastically different. That is literally just Christian McCaffrey. That is literally just Christian McCaffrey creating yards after contact that other running backs just can't do. So Christian McCaffrey coming back, I think you could see this offense return to form. How much to form, I don't know. Their O-line, they just do not prioritize offensive line. It's just not a thing they've ever done.
Really weird because they run the ball, like
they do, and their offensive mind. Like Kyle Shanahan is like one of the offensive-minded gurus of the league. Like, you see those, like, there's not many of those kinds of coaches that you look and go, their O-line is not good. There's a couple. Zach Taylor comes to mind, but, Zach Taylor's coaching for the Bengals, so you kind of got to work with what you got. But it's very surprising. So, yeah, as you said, their front seven is where they hit this draft. 4 of their first 5 picks, their first and second pick, Michael Williams, Alfred Collins. The other one that wasn't out of their 5 that wasn't a front 7 player was a corner. So they did not sign many free agents, as you said. Again, not really the cap room to do that. Yeah. So, but I am with you. Like, I expect this team to take a step forward. I mean, I think people are way too optimistic about what this team's ceiling is. I just don't think this team's got the guys that it once did. I think it will be much improved. I mean, I don't think they're going to win 6 games. I don't trust their luck history in terms of injury. It's actually kind of crazy. Over the past 6 out of the last 7 years, they have finished top 10 in most injured teams. They have been in the top 5 4 of those years, and they have been number 1 twice, including last year. So they're a top-heavy team mixed with consistently being injured. That is not a good combo. And you might say, well, last year they were number 1, so they're due for some regression. But the reality is, in 2023, that was the one year they weren't top 10. They were 29th, and that was the year they went to the Super Bowl. So you might look at 2024 and say, okay, well, this year's going to be a correction for that. They're not going to have that much luck. I would argue 2024 was a correction for 2023. So the norm is for this team to be hurt a lot. Like, it just is what it is. And if this team is too top heavy to be losing guys to injury, they have a lot of older players in particular, and a lot of those guys been on a lot of extra games because they made deep playoff runs year after year after year. Like, it's concerning. So I do like the over for them as well. I expect them to win 11, 12 games. Like, I think if they're healthy,
really?
I do. Their schedule is just, I mean, you go through it, it's win, 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 win. I mean, it's like, how are you going to lose these games if you're playing with all your guys? Like, you just have the better team. But, that's what getting to play a last place schedule gets you, And I think they're going to win a lot of games, and I think they'll be in the playoffs. I think they could even be in the conversation for the 1 seed. Nobody in the NFC is really, like, outside of Philadelphia, really, right, where you're just like, this team is so much better than everybody else. But I think even if they get there, I don't think this team is that good. I think this team is like 5th or 6th best in the conference, something like that.
What do you think their ceiling is?
I could see an NFC Championship game. If they win 12 games, they get the 1 or the 2 seed. They get a home playoff game. They get a nice matchup in round 2. I could see them going to the NFC Champion. I mean, if everything breaks just right for them. Floor, I think there's an 8-win team at their floor. I just do not see them being any worse than that. This team is coached too well. As long as they don't have injuries from hell again, which, hey, it might happen, but I tentatively like their roster. I think it's a good roster. I just don't think it's a top-tier roster.
I think the perfect season would be the NFC Championship, but I think this team is a divisional round team.
No, don't say that. Haha, it's so cute.
It's crazy because I love this team, and I think, yeah, like you said, with the easy schedule, they should get some wins here and look like a big contender there. But man, this is not the 49ers of old. This is
No, it's
not the
not. This is a new
49ers of
era.
old.
This is a new era, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they transition to that new era in the coming years. All right, Christian, we got to talk about the Seattle Seahawks next. I am very curious to see what you think about this team. I have some thoughts. It is Sam Darnold season, folks. I'll let you tee it off, Christian. What do you think?
Not great.
No,
Not great.
no,
Not great for Seattle.
Well, why? So, like, why
Positives.
is it the Sam Darnold thing, or is it like just the team in general, how it's constructed?
Well, I will get there, Tree.
All right, you're right. I'm rushing.
Positives. They did Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator, for what that was that 4 or 5 week stretch for the Saints.
It was pretty. It was pretty.
Man, they look good. Derek Carr revitalizing his career and all that stuff. So I do like the Clint Kubiak signing for offensive coordinator. He does have a history with Sam Darnold, which I think he was the pass coordinator for the 49ers in 2023. So does have a relationship with Sam Darnold. With the Sam Darnold, since you asked, I don't think this is much of an upgrade in my opinion. Like, now, if I had to choose and I put him in a vacuum, Geno Smith or Sam Darnold, I'd say Geno Smith is slightly better. Slightly.
Okay. So you prefer
So
Geno
I don't
over
think.
Sam, yeah.
I think, yeah, I prefer Geno over Sam Darnold, but so I don't think of this quarterback change as a huge shift for them. And I was reading over the Warren Sharp report on Seattle, and man, dude, he's going from, I think it said he had the second best offensive line in Minnesota to now one of the worst, if not the, I think they were 30th.
They're one of their bottom
32nd.
Yeah, they're terrible. I mean, they're dead last in some categories.
32nd.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
all across the league with the NFL, the biggest kryptonite to quarterbacks is a great offensive line. But what is the number one thing, the criticism of Sam Darnold is, Jake? Can you tell me what that is?
He sees ghosts. He can't.
He's seeing them ghosts.
He sees ghosts.
He didn't see a lot of ghosts last year. He didn't see a lot of ghosts last year. He saw a little bit, but he was really good last year. So he's now going to one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They've tried to address that and with the draft. But yeah, I'll let you go on. But I don't know. I don't really believe in the Seattle. I think they'll be, was it 7.5? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And one last thing. I think this is crazy. They have had for the past 3 years, they have the most upheaval in the 3 most important positions in the league, and it's head coach, quarterback, and offensive coordinator. 2023, it was Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Shane Waldron. Last year, Mike McDonald's first year. They brought him in. They still had Geno. And now this year, Mike McDonald is now in his second year. They got a new quarterback in Sam Darnold, and they just brought in another offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak. So it's pretty crazy what's going on in Seattle.
I believe this team will be probably in last place in this division this year.
Same.
I hate to say it because I really do like a lot of what they've done. Like, I just wanted to hit defensively what they've done. They won 6 of their last 8 games last year. Went 10-7. They had a lot of help from Ernest Jones, Tyrese Knight, Kobe Bryant, and their secondary stepped up. on their defensive line is scary. I mean, they retained Leonard
You
Williams.
like the DeMarcus Lawrence?
I did like the DeMarcus Lawrence addition. They also have Jaron Reed. They have Boye Mafe. Byron Murphy didn't have a great rookie season, but the interior defensive linemen don't usually have great rookie seasons. You know, it usually takes them some time, so he's going into year 2. Again, I like the D-Law addition. They weren't great at stopping the run, but I do think DeMarcus Lawrence has been throughout his career, minus last year because of injuries. He's been really good at run defense, so I think that'll help. Reek Woolen is solid. You know, he had a great rookie campaign. He's kind of regressed a little bit since then, but he's still pretty good. Devin Witherspoon is solid. Julian Love at safety is good. They spent a second-round pick on Nick Emanwari. So I really do like a lot of what they have defensively. I expect this defensive unit to be really, really good, but this is a story about offense. And the more I've thought about it, I 100% agree with you. I think Sam Darnold is a downgrade from Geno Smith. You hit the nail on the head. This is such a bad combination for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a quarterback that likes to hold on the ball and let the play develop, and he's going to a situation, one of the worst situations in the league, to be able to do that. Like, he's not going to have time. And I dug into Clint Kubiak's pressure data dating back to 2021 when he was the Vikings offensive coordinator. 49th of 78 quarterbacks in time to throw. Kirk Cousins had the 7th highest pressure rate, 8th highest intended air yards per pass, so that means they're waiting for plays to develop. Hurried the 4th most, and then 12th in deep throw attempts and 21st in overall percentage as far as the amount of throws you make. 2022, 22nd in time to throw. Russ was the 1st in highest pressure rate. He was 7th in intended air yards. Hurried the 6th most, 3rd in deep throw attempts. 2023, 5th in pocket time, so that was actually a positive. 43 in time to throw out of 79. 17th in pressure rate. 10th in intended air yards. Hurried the 20th most. And then last year, 10th to middle of the pack in pocket time, depending on the data. 55th out of 78 quarterbacks in terms of time to throw. 9th in pressure rate. 10th in air yards per pass. Derek Carr was hurried the 10th most, had the 10th most hurries, despite only playing 10 games. And 13th in deep pass percentages. So, long story short, a lot of data there. What that basically means is this is an offense that it is not uncommon for the quarterback throwing in a Clint Kubiak offense to have among the highest rate of pressure or the most hurries in the league. And that is in part because Clint Kubiak's offenses like to have plays develop. They like to run play action and run deep, developing pass concepts. And behind probably the worst offensive line in football, it's not a good thing. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. And they picked up a first-round guard, but I'm not confident that it's really going to do much for them. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Charles Cross is pretty good. Charles Cross is solid, but
I think he has. Yeah, I think they hit on him.
Yeah, and Gray Zabel is, he's their rookie. But, like, that means they have Charles Cross, Gray Zabel, who's a rookie, everybody from going to the rest of the right side. Not good. They weren't good last year. They're not going to be good this year. And now you have a quarterback who, like, wants to hang on to the ball. This might work. Clint Kubiak can have Sam Darnold throwing in rhythm and get the ball off quick, and Sam Darnold can make anticipatory throws, which is not something we've seen him do super well consistently throughout his career. It could work, but we've also seen a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of them have a great season, and then they get signed, and then they don't do anything. I mean, Matt Castle comes to mind. Case Keenum comes to mind. I mean, there's a lot. Kevin Cobb comes to mind from a long time ago, if you remember Kevin Cobb.
Brock Osweiler.
I
don't know if he had a great season.
I mean, he did.
Yeah,
but you like, it is not uncommon for these quarterbacks, like these backup level quarterbacks, to have a great season. Nick Foles comes to mind, where you just go on a run, you're great for a year, and then you can never replicate it because you're just not that guy. And so there's a lot of things that I look at the Seahawks working against them. They have a defensive-minded coach. Colin Cowherd, I wanted to talk about this really quick, has a theory. about offensive-minded coaches are really, really good at building their O-lines. Like you see, like they build their O-lines within a year, and defensive-minded coaches don't do it. You look at Mike Tomlin; he has been trying to fix that offensive line in Pittsburgh for 6 years. Like, can't do it. So, I love the defense. I like Jackson Smith and Jigba. They got Mark.
I think he'll have a really good year. I mean,
I
he had a really good year last year, but now he's been thrusted upon with the number one option. I do like Cooper Kupp now. He is coming.
In the slot gonna be decent if he can stay healthy.
Not good. Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the outside. Kind of wish they could have kept Tyler Lockett there. He's just been really solid, but I mean, Valdes-Scantling is that deep threat. Now, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna fill the shoes of Tyler Lockett because man, Tyler Lockett made some insane deep down the field catches. So he's got some big shoes to. He was a weapon. That's big shoes to fill. We have seen Valdes-Scantling struggle. Dropped I remember that one game against the Eagles, dropped that deep pass from Mahomes, perfectly thrown ball, and just dropped, and they lose that game. So, it's gonna be probably some growing pains there. Like you said, Cooper Kupp in the slot, coming off a disappointing season with the Rams, might feel a bit slighted. So hopefully with some, revigoration, he can step up. But yeah, like you said, the Clint Kubiak offense likes to, throw the ball downfield and wait for these, play action. But can they do it with this O-line? If I had to bet, probably not. But, it's the year to year, things can change. Running back wise, I like
Kenneth
them.
Walker.
Love Kenneth Walker,
but
and then their second guy.
They don't have an O-line to run behind.
They were, not great. 3.7 yards per carry last year for Kenneth Walker. Yeah, I mean, can their offensive line step up? That's what they got to do. If their offensive line can step up, they could. I think their win total right now, projected win total is 7.5. If I had to bet, I'd probably bet the under. But if that offensive line can, stay healthy and can get the running game and the passing game going with the blocks, they could be okay. Like a nuisance, but not a real threat in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean 7.5. Like this team, 7-8 wins. I could see this team being 7-10. I just. This team did go 10-7 last year, and I hate to poo-poo them because again, I do like their defense. I love their skill players, and I do like Mike McDonald. Clint Kubiak's fine, and even Sam Darnold is not bad. I think there is a chance Sam Darnold could actually be the real deal, and he could have revitalized his career. But Sam Darnold's style of play behind this horrible offensive line, it's one of those things to me that it feels so obvious. I'm just am I dumb? Am I missing something? Because there's no way somebody thought that that was going to be a good idea. I don't know. But it sounds like we're on the same page. The ceiling for this team, look, I'll say it. This 10-11 wins. If Sam Darnold clicks, the O-line is not. They mitigate the O-line as a problem. They run the ball well. They got the talent to be a 10-11 win team, make the playoffs. But their floor, I mean, this could go sideways fast, and they could be 5-12. I think 7 wins, as you said, is probably around where I would put them.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, defensively, 37.9 pressure rate, which put them at third with 45 sacks, which put them in eighth. So they got to replicate that. They got to replicate that on the defensive side. So they can play well defensively, and, Clint Kubiak can figure out something and do something well for Sam Darnold, but I'm not sure.
And yet again, they are 32nd in spending on the O-line for the second year in a row. And you saw this continue even before, because before Mike McDonald, it was Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll, defensive-minded coach, did not prioritize the O-line as much as he probably should have. So this is just a continuation of a really bad trend in Seattle. So, I
wonder why that happens. Because it's like, yeah, I'm a defensive coach. I'm going to, like, I get that. Like, I understand. But, like, at the same time, like, bro, you got to, like, spend some resources on the offense. Like, you just, like, you have, like, Sam
we
Darnold.
paid Russell Wilson. What do you want? What more do you want from us?
Like, it's, I just don't understand it, because it's like, hey, like, offense matter. This is an offensive driven league at this point. I'm not saying you need to put all your money on the offensive side. Now, we have seen that work here and there, but, like, bro, you gotta draft and you gotta sign. Like, you gotta do something. I'm not saying you need the best of the best, but you need to put some attention over there.
I 100% agree. So, all right. Well, sounds like we're in agreement on the Seahawks. I hate to say it. I really want this team to do well. And I think, again, they have a lot of the infrastructure that could lend them to do well. But we shouldn't have called this podcast From the Pocket. We should have called it Build the Line, because that's what we're always talking about.
That's how you do it. You build your offensive and defensive line, and then the rest will come.
You build those. You create such a high floor for yourself. I mean, you have a top tier offensive and defensive line. You're winning 8 games minimum. We can go ahead and start on our last team, the Arizona Cardinals.
I do think we're probably going to disagree on this one.
Really? All right. So we got the Arizona Cardinals, Christian. It's time to talk about them. This team, you know what? I'm curious what you think, because you just said we're going to disagree on this team. So I'll let you start us out, Christian. What do you think about the Cardinals?
I think this team could be solid.
Okay. I don't disagree.
Maybe not good. Maybe not great to good, but I think this team can be solid. Now, coming into last season, not a lot of hype. They were forecasted 6.5 wins. I mean, the biggest thing was Kyler Murray played all 17 games, and that was like hallelujah, because he hasn't done that since 2020.
His second year in the league.
It's been 4 years. This has been 4 years since that man has played all 17 games. Now, with that being said, he does still struggle late in the season. I know we kind of put that on Cliff Kingsbury, but he ain't there no more, and we're still kind of seeing that pattern where he kind of struggles late in the season.
I have some data about
that.
But
looking at their schedule, that first half not that bad. Not playing a lot of playoff teams in that first half. They do have a week 8 bye. They're playing San Fran on the road, and then they have Green Bay, and then week 8. After the week 8 bye, they play the Cowboys. Even though they play them on the they do. Kyler Murray is, I think, undefeated in Jerry World, and then he has beaten up the Cowboys in that stadium.
He sure has.
I think that was a few years ago. But I think the Cowboys, I will say a tough game. San Fran, they play Tampa. They play the Rams twice. They got to play the Texans and the Bengals. So, yeah, that back half of that schedule is a bit tough. I do like the continuity. They've kind of figured it out with the offense. I just think they need to be more consistent with Kyler. And although James Conner, their running back, is getting older, he's still producing on the offensive line. Or running the ball, running the ball. But I think, and I'll last thing, and I'll pass it to you, Jake.
Sure.
Jonathan Gannon should be getting a lot of criticism. He's a defensive guy coming from the Philadelphia Eagles, and they just haven't been great defensively. In 2023, they were the 32nd worst defense in the league. In 2024, they were 27th worst defense. But and we were just talking about this with Seattle, what I love that they did was they spent so much, money on the defensive line in the offseason
100%.
And draft capital in the defensive line. 6 of their 7 players that they drafted were defensive players, and 5 out of that 7 were defensive line. Walter Nolan coming out of Ole Miss with their 16th overall pick. They're second most expensive line, and now they've gone up to the 11th most defensive line.
Love to see it.
Biggest signings were Calais Campbell, veteran,
Dalvin
but still
Tomlinson,
Dalvin
Josh Sweat.
Tomlinson, Josh Sweat, and then their Darius Robinson, their first round pick from last year. He didn't play till week 13 last year.
Yep.
So it's kind of he's kind of still new. So yeah, I think if they can get some more consistency with Kyler, and if that defensive line, they got a plethora of guys on that defensive line. If they can step up, and because I'm a little iffy on the secondary and the linebackers, but I do like Buda Baker still back there. I think he made his whatever Pro Bowl last year, his 8th, 7th, whatever. But so I think they'll still be good. He's solid, but if they can get a healthy pass rush with all the guys that they have brought in to help bolster that defensive line, I think this could be a solid playoff contender. They're what's it, 8.5. I think I'm kind of believing Arizona Cardinals. I think I bet the over here.
Really quick.
Maybe 9-8. Maybe.
Really quick, I forgot to mention this at the top, but we're doing sleeper picks this year. And the way I wanted to do it was when we talk about your sleeper pick, that's when you go, this is my sleeper pick. Are you saying the Cardinals are your NFC sleeper pick?
They have the potential to be.
Okay.
I mean, it's
dang. Okay, you really like.
I'm really putting in a lot of. I'm putting the reading over the sharp list and all the things that they did with their defensive line. I mean, hey, that's how you can. You were just saying you build that offensive defensive line, you can get 8 wins, 8.5. So they need to hit 9. I think they could. It's gonna be tough, like I said, with the second half, but I'll let you go, Jake. But yeah, I think
Yeah, I mean, you. It's like you were reading off my notes a little bit because I had a whole thing I was going to do about their defensive line. I totally agree.
Oh,
with
my
you.
bad, man.
No,
bad.
I'm glad
that
you
was
said
my
it.
biggest talk.
I'm glad
that
you
was my
said
biggest
it.
talking point.
I ain't got to say everything, like we can split. But I'm glad you highlighted it because I do think it is like the most important takeaway for this team. I mean, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, Walter Nolan currently injured right now in training camp, but he expect him to probably play. Darius Robinson, their first rounder from last year, is back. So, I mean, they have some real depth on this defensive line. And I actually do like their secondary. Garrett Williams had a little bit of a breakout year last year. PFF has him at 3rd. I think that's a little high, but I think nevertheless, like, he's trending upwards. And then they have spent the past 2 seasons, they have invested second-round picks at corners. Will Johnson out of Michigan this year. They got Max Melton last year.
Rookie.
Obviously, they got that one guy back there. I can't remember his name. It's like Buda Baker or something. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Yeah. So, I mean, the weak part with this defense is their linebackers. Their linebackers are not good.
Yeah.
They made an assignment with Akeem Davis-Gaither. They have Mac Wilson, who's trending to be the Mike. But outside of that, like, their linebackers leave a lot to be desired. That's kind of the weak point of this team. But offensively, I really am sad that we are now at this point. But the question is, can Kyler Murray just get it done? And I like Kyler Murray.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're Arizona Cardinals, well, I guess front office, but as a fan too, if you were a fan of the team, do you regret that signing?
Signing Kyler? No, I don't.
You don't regret it?
No.
I think this year will be.
This will
be a deciding factor for me.
I was a big proponent of that signing because if you're the Packers, right, you don't feel like you got to be desperate with quarterback play. You've hit on Brett Favre, you've hit on Aaron Rodgers. I have very mixed feelings about Jordan Love, but nevertheless, you don't feel like you have to be desperate. If you're the Cardinals, you're desperate for quarterback play. The only good quarterback you've really had in your history that's like brought you real success was Kurt Warner. And that was not your guy. You picked up Kurt Warner off the street when he was an old vet. So when you're looking at Kyler Murray and you're like, yeah, could Kyler be better? Would I like to have somebody better than probably the 16th best quarterback in the NFL? Yes, but hey, he's exciting to watch. He can win some games, and he is the best quarterback any Cardinals fan has seen in their lifetime that they have drafted. So in that context, I'm just like, yeah, you would like to have a better quarterback, but it kind of is what it is. No, but to me, yeah, I mean, I think this question is going to come down to if Kyler Murray can get it done. I mean, you look at their team. Trey Benson, James Conner, Trey McBride, who is probably an elite level tight end at this point. They have obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. on the outside. Paris Johnson going into year 3. I mean, he'll be a second year left tackle, but he was really good last year. Yelda Froholt, he was graded the 6th best center 2024, really good at run blocking, which explains why they had so much success running the ball. Jonah Williams missed a bunch of time last year, but he's back. He wasn't that bad during his time. So the thing that really is going to hold this team back is can Kyler Murray figure out his deep throw issues? Because it's very bizarre, but Kyler Murray is among the worst in the league at throwing the ball deep. He is horrible at it. His when he first came into the league, 2019, he was a rookie. He was pretty good, 20th, not great, not terrible. 2020 and 2021, he was 8th in passer rating, throwing the ball 20 yards or deeper. 5th in big-time throw percentage in 2021. 2022, he was 57th. 2020 in passer rating, throwing the ball 20 yards or deeper. 2023, 55th, and 2024, 44th. He was 40th in completion percentage last year, 46th the year before. In 2022, he had a 23.7 passer rating, 20 yards or deeper. I mean, he has been terrible at throwing the ball, and that creates problems for their pick last year, Marvin Harrison Jr., because Marvin Harrison Jr., you look at Malik Nabers, who was obviously the guy he was compared to because they were peers coming out at the same time. They got the ball quick to Malik Nabers. He's a yards after catch demon, but that's not really Marvin Harrison's game. Marvin Harrison's game is I'm going to go deep, I'm going to hit the intermediate routes, I'm going to throw the ball, and that is not what Kyler Murray can hit. So they drafted a guy that specializes in the kind of pass that Kyler Murray does not know how to hit. And here's a fun, crazy stat for you. Do you want to guess how many times they threw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. at or behind the line of scrimmage last year? Just hike, throw, quick throws, at or behind the line of scrimmage. They didn't throw him one time.
They didn't throw him a screen?
He didn't get a single target last year at or behind the line of scrimmage. Not one.
That's insane.
It is insane. It's crazy. And he was pretty good deep. I mean, he was tied for 6th in targets. He caught 10 of those passes. That was better than Malik Nabers. He also had a better grade deep than Malik Nabers. So, Marvin Harrison Jr. works throwing intermediate and deep routes, and you have a quarterback who can't hit those. They need to figure that out. And they did a pretty good job of adjusting that last year. They finished 11th. A big change was they started having success on early downs. They started targeting running backs. Trey Benson and James Conner were like top 5 in multiple advanced categories. Did not translate to Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously, but I think Drew Petzing. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, to that point, I would say maybe just with a year under their belt, maybe getting a little bit more comfortable should help with that. But yeah, no, that's ridiculous. You got to throw him some screen. Like, throw him some
easy stuff, yeah.
Get him going. Get him in the offense. You draft him 4th overall. Like, come on.
And, of course, you already kind of said it, but I'm going to go deeper into it. Kyler Murray down the stretch is bad. He's bad. They were 6-4 going into their last 7 games last year.
Yeah, I forgot about it. They were number 1 in the NFC, or in the NFC West, sorry. And they were number 1. Like, hey, can the Cardinals do it? And then after that bye, L.
I mean, and they played Seattle twice, which Seattle not a bad team last year.
Yeah,
they played
some
Patriots,
not great quarterbacks.
The Panthers, the Rams, who you go, well, the Rams were good. They blew out the Rams earlier that year. Early week 2, they blew out the Rams. The Vikings, who obviously the Vikings were really good. And then they ended the season with the 49ers, who the 49ers were not good last year. And they went 2-5 in that stretch. And to your point, you talked about it a little bit. The difficulty of their schedule. They have the third toughest schedule this year, Week 11 onward. So it's like they're trying to screw the Cardinals over. They're like, oh yeah, we know y'all are not good in the back half. And I pulled some more data for you, homeboy. I pulled some more because I knew you'd want it. In September, this is Kyler Murray stats in September and October versus November and December. In September and October, he is 22, 17, and 1 as a starter. He has 58 touchdowns to 27 interceptions, and he averages 6.5 runs a game. November, December, he is 12 and 25. 47 touchdowns to 30 interceptions, so less touchdowns, more interceptions. And he runs the ball a full attempt, 1 attempt less. So he averages about 5.5 runs a carry. So, Kyler Murray, as the season goes on, is not very good. I mean, he gets really not great in the back half of the year. So I think I agree with you. I mean, if we get a full season again out of Kyler Murray and Kyler Murray can figure it out down the stretch, and I like the way this offense adjusted itself and showed the propensity to kind of fix themselves. I love their defense. We got to believe Jonathan Gannon is a good defensive coordinator, right? I mean, they hired him for his work in Philadelphia. If things click, 10 wins. I think it's a 10-win team. I think they have a little bit of talent gap, but I think generally it's a good team. I don't think they'll be bad. I think they just have too much talent to be bad. Like, they have some good guys. Their defense is solid, as we've said. I feel like this 8.5 over-under is, like, perfect. Like, I have a really hard time picking one or the other. 8 or 9, I'd probably lean under. I'll go over. I'll go 9 wins with you. But 7, 8 wins is their floor. They have a lot of talent defensively, but they're going to be great at running the ball. That's really, I think, where they need to lean. And anytime you can do that behind a solid offensive line and great defensive line play with solid secondary, you're going to win. You're going to win some games. Even if your ceiling is not that high, you're going to win a lot of games. So that is that.
I think the perfect season for them. I will, if I'm an Arizona Cardinal fan, I want a playoff berth and maybe not win the game, but I need Kyler Murray to play well in that game. He's only been to one playoff game, and he played terrible in that game. So if I can get that, then that makes me hopeful for the future. But yeah, we need a better Kyler Murray in the second half of the season, and hopefully it looks like they found something with Drew Pretzing and with the early down stuff. So keep doing that with the running game, and that not targeting. I've just because I thought Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he can be really really good, but you got to put the ball in his hands. You got to see what he can do.
100%. So. All right, well, that is it. That is the NFC West, Christian. We went through all 4 teams. I think we're good. I think that's it. I think we'll wrap it up here, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. If you like our content, feel free to send us a like or subscribe, comment, tell us what you think, share our podcast out, give us a rating on your favorite podcasting app. We appreciate you. We will be back on Thursday to talk about the AFC West. So that's a big division, so I'm excited to talk about that. A lot of opinions flowing about all 4 of those teams. So until then, y'all, we love you, we cherish you, and we'll see you in a few days. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.